Welcome to a cold, wet and thoroughly miserable Portman Road, where today Ipswich Town take on the mighty Liverpool. After a succession of 5 away games, Town are performing in front of their own fans for the first time for 4 weeks. Truthfully, the omens for Town are not good this afternoon. Liverpool come to Portman Road after 6 straight victories. In addition to this, the Reds have already put 8 goals past Paul Cooper without reply in 2 matches at Anfield this season, including 3 in the Milk Cup 11 days ago. But recently, Liverpool's record here is not brilliant. They haven't won in their last 5 league visits. Town welcome back Romeo Zondervan, who starts a match for the first time in 3 games. He replaces Mickey Stockwell with Michael Cole, Ipswich's substitute. Liverpool are forced to make their first change in 6 matches, and a vital one it is too. Ian Rush has a thigh strain, and with player manager Kenny Dalglish not fully fit, they're likely to push Craig Johnston into a front-running role, with Sammy Lee coming into the midfield. McMahon and McDonald are still unfit, but there's still no room for former Town star John Walk, who's only substitute. So Alan Hansen, the Liverpool captain, there for the toss-up. The referee this afternoon, Mr. Vic Callow. He comes from Solihull. And there's Terry Butcher with the young Town mascot. Proud day, of course, for him. Posing for the customary photographs. As I said, a very wet day, and certainly this pitch is going to cut up quite badly before this game is through. Kenny Dalglish, in fact, nominated Manager of the Month for the month of January, the first time he's received that award. So the team's changing ends, and it will be Ipswich to attack the Churchman's End during the first half. Should add that there's been a flu virus in the Town's ranks this week. In fact, this morning's youth team game was postponed because of it, and 1 or 2 of the first team squad have been suffering in the midweek. It'll be very interesting to see if Town can rise to this big occasion this afternoon. Certainly a packed house here at Portman Road, the best crowd of the season so far, 20,500 in Portman Road this afternoon. Ian Rush obviously is going to be missed by Liverpool. Remains to be seen what their formation is exactly. One would anticipate that Craig Johnson will take the front running role alongside Paul Walsh. So Ipswich to kick off then. Butcher with the long one forward. Headed away by Beglin. Zondervan with his first touch. There's Jan Molby already dropped deep in defence to clear. Butcher, McCall. Terry Butcher once more. De Vrij unable to win that one. Little Kevin Wilson already starting out on that left-hand flank. Jason Dizelle being pushed through the middle. Enterprising stuff by Town as far as tactics are concerned. And Romeo Zondervan sitting in the middle of midfield this afternoon is Walsh. Good work by Putney. Walsh there robbed by Cranston. A strong challenge by Mark Brennan. But this is Nicol to Walsh once more. Cranston again in the way. We'll find that the Liverpool fullbacks, I'm sure, will push up to quite a fair extent. Steve Nicol and Jim Beglin. Here's Walsh. Good challenge by Butcher. Johnston leaving the throw for Nicol. Steve Nicol, the Scottish international. Here's Lawrenson, playing in midfield these days for Liverpool. He can't get his cross in. McCall up to Dizelle. That's a bit short for Brennan. Molby in there fast, but Town get it back. Wilson and Zondervan. Good challenge from behind by Johnson. Bruce Grobbelaar then with his first touch. South African-born Zimbabwe international. The clown prince of goalkeepers, they call him. They will fall for Putney. He can't control it. That lets Beglin in, but he can't control it either. Ipswich throw. Yallop. Gary Gillespie wearing 11 but playing at the back for Liverpool alongside Alan Hansen. There's Lee. Strongly Butcher again. One there for Johnston to chase. Once again Terry Butcher though. And ball clear. Hansen wins that one in the air from De Vrij. McCall in sharply. Is Brennan. McCall again. Putney on the line. Looking for Dizelle. Couldn't find him. Lawrenson picks it up. Little Sammy Lee. That's a good run forward by Whelan. Cranston going with him though. Lee once more, and Johnston. Cranston again. This is Walsh. And Yallop concedes the corner. Whelan. Here's Mulby, the Dane. Dizelle unable to find Wilson.
There's a red alley, registration number FJN101Y, half of the practice pitch.
Nicol and Lawrenson combined, but McCall in there sharply. Gillespie lets it run for a throw-in to Liverpool. Here's Jim Beglin. Cranston reading that one well. And then giving the ball away. But Liverpool getting themselves into a bit of a muddle there. Yallop for Dizelle. Zondervan. And Brennan. And on to Steve McCall with space in front of him. But that's a poor pass. Nicol cutting it out. Super pass there, but McCall had got back to recover from his earlier mistake. Here's Zondervan. And Brennan. That's a foul by Gillespie. Free kick to Ipswich. Neither side able to string much together in this opening 5 minutes. You see already that the pitch is covered in. You see the rain driving. Ipswich playing very much with the wind as Brennan strikes that one forward. Putney! And that'll be, I think, a corner to Ipswich. No, in fact, referee Vic Callow, yes, has awarded the corner to Ipswich. As Mark Brennan goes across. towards Butcher, but Grobbelaar there. Yes, as I was saying, a very strong wind blowing from left to right across your screens in Ipswich's favour in this first half. And Grobbelaar, perhaps wisely, electing to bowl the ball out rather than try and kick against this wind. But Zondervan there. Yallop. Zondervan can't find Putney. Have another go. And here's Dizelle. But Hansen's going with him. This time Grobbelaar is going to try and kick. You see, he doesn't really get distance on that. Liverpool throw, though. Here's Johnston turning with Yallop. Free kick awarded to Liverpool. It's Jim Beglin, the Republic of Ireland international, takes the free kick short to Ronnie Whelan. Beglin taking a little bit of a knock there from Yallop, but he's okay. This Liverpool side, of course, studded with internationals. Flicked on by De Vrij. Wilson trying to get onto that, but Gillespie wisely, safety first, back to his goalkeeper. Brennan meets that one. Pushed forward by Gillespie. Cranston strong in the air. And Hansen in there. Terry Butcher equal to it. Gives it only to Lee, though. Nicol looking for Johnston, but Cranston once more. And here's Brennan with a chance to get Ipswich moving. And that's a fine pass. Trevor Putney. Brennan once more. And Brennan trying the shot from long range, and that'll be a corner. So 2 corners to Ipswich already in this opening 10 minutes. And that really is the driving rain going across your screens there. Bitterly cold. Brennan curls one in with the wind. Grobbelaar elected to punch. That'll be left, I'm sure, for Ian Cranston to try the long throw. De Vrij the target. Grobbelaar not convincing De Vrij. Well, a mistake there certainly by Grobbelaar, but recovered himself. Didn't look at all confident there. Liverpool take the heat out of the situation, stroking around at the back. Nicol finds Mulby. Butcher's there. McCall. And Zondervan. Chased by Johnson, fouled by Johnson, in fact. Town wanting to get on with it. Here's Frank Yallop. And Beglin forward. All the way through to Paul Cooper. See what distance Cooper can get with the wind off the head of De Vrij, but straight through to Grobbelaar. That'll hold up in the wind. He's given it away. Cranston once again strongly, and what good use he made of it. This is Wilson. Ipswich's throw. McCall. Mulby in strongly on Dazelle, but McCall equally strong on Mulby, and Mulby fouling McCall. Free kick to Ipswich. The big men forward again as the ball comes across the box. Butcher there. That might fall for De Vrij. Liverpool under some pressure there, but that's a good ball out by Jan Mulby. He finds Craig Johnston. Surely too strong for Walsh. Cooper there in any case. Dazelle trying to find De Vrij. It's Hansen. Whelan robbed, but it bounces kindly for Johnston. Beglin going on the overlap. Ronnie Whelan to Walsh. All the way through to Grobbelaar. In fact, De Vrij offside. It will be Mulby to take the free kick. Good knock down there by Whelan, but Town get it back. And De Vrij, an interesting one, but Nicol had gone back well there with Wilson. Cranston once more, already dominating in that Town defence, but Liverpool get it back, and Beglin strikes one forward for Johnston to chase with Yallop. What a run out for a goal kick. In fact, free kick given. Dazelle finds De Vrij. Dazelle, well struck and on target. Good to see the youngster prepared to have a go from that range. Butcher all over Walsh. Ipswich certainly have had the better of exchanges in this opening 15 minutes. Not overawed at all. Gillespie pulls it back to Grobbelaar. Here's Johnston, looking for Walsh, but Cranston there again. Beglin can't keep it in. Ipswich throw. Trevor trying to pinch a few yards. So Frank Yallop takes the throw. He's Whelan, but worried by Putney. Lawrenson. That's a good ball. Finds Nicol. Mulby. Good play by the Dane. Still Mulby trying to get forward, but Butcher sticking to his task well. Wilson. Whelan well positioned to cut that one out. and to move forward. Little Sammy Lee. Not really a regular in this Liverpool side at the moment. So full of midfield players, the Liverpool squad. Lee again. A nice little touch, but Cranston there to bang it away. Wilson's robbed, but McCall sliding in there. Here's Lee. And Johnston. Whelan. Johnston taking over once more. Here's Walsh. Threads it through. Cross. But offside. Certainly so far, Cranston and Butcher have put the shackles on the very dangerous Paul Walsh. 18 goals already this season. DeVray beaten in the air. McCall, though, gets it back. Here's Wilson. Up for Dazelle. DeVray, a real chance here for Dazelle. But Grobbelaar equal to it. A fine save that. Perhaps the youngster should have scored. He was clear of the defence. But Bruce Grobbelaar showing that he's also a top-class keeper as well as a top-class clown. And here's Lee. Johnston offside. So the first real chance of the game falling in the 18th minute to Jason Dazelle. Bruce Grobbelaar producing that fine save. But encouraging really that for Ipswich. Gillespie and DeVray challenge in the air. Booted away by Nicol. Cranston there again. And Dazelle offside on this occasion. Here's Johnson, but again it's Cranston. Zondervan. And Yallop. Here's Trevor Putney. Brennan. For Dazelle, but he can't get onto that. That runs out for an Ipswich throw. Determination from Terry Butcher, but only finds Sammy Lee. There's a good ball, and Johnston unable to direct his header into the path of Walsh. Gillespie winning out on that occasion. But again, Liverpool unable to put any penetrative passes together. Young Mark Brennan. To another youngster, Frank Yallop. McCall. Liverpool breaking up that attack, and that's an interesting ball forward, but Johnston unable to keep it in. Ian Cranston with nobody to give it to. Finally finds Zondervan. Whelan in there to send it forward. Here's Brennan. Does well to keep that ball away from the challenge of Lawrenson. Town being forced backwards on this occasion. Here's Hansen. Again, no way forward. Both sides getting men back behind the ball well. Johnston being shadowed all the way by Butcher on that occasion. DeVray winning that one, but unable to do anything conclusive with it. This is Walsh. He finds Whelan and Lawrenson. That one's short for Lee. Gillespie with a bit of time to get Liverpool moving forward again. Content to play keep ball though at the back. And all the way back to Bruce Grobbelaar. Grobbelaar, 6'1", very well built indeed for a goalkeeper. Flicked on by Whelan and Walsh. But again, Butcher there. Dazelle trying hard to pick out DeVray. But only finds Nicol. And that'll be a free kick to Liverpool. Terry Butcher leaning on Craig Johnston on that occasion. So midway through this first half, still no score. Will be Lee to take this free kick. Still Ipswich sticking very tight to their men at the back. Now Gillespie. Nicol leaves it for Lee. Mulby. He can't find a way through. And here's Wilson. That's a great pass for Dazelle. Dazelle sprinting clear. Still Dazelle. Tries to find Trevor Putney. Perhaps he would have done better to have gone alone and tried his luck. But Towns keep possession. Yallop to Brennan. McCall. Dazelle leaves it for McCall. Cross angled in. Well, Liverpool not looking very convincing up the back, I must say, because Dazelle had got clear of the defence there. As I said, perhaps he would have been better to have tried his luck. The angle wasn't good. Here's Hansen for Walsh. Good turn. Beglin. Back for Whelan. But there's a poor pass. Zondervan unable to collect it though, and Mulby. Cooper having to hurry. Safety first there from Paul Cooper, realising that if he handled the ball he would probably have had to have carried it out of his area. Gives Liverpool the throw in. 25 minutes gone. Here's Walsh. Good turn. A dangerous cross. But Terry Butcher back there. Probably the first time in the match that certainly that Ian Cranson has been turned on that occasion, but a nippy little character, Paul Walsh. As I said, 18 goals already. Cost Liverpool £700,000 when they bought him from Luton. Player on the fringe of the England squad. So the corner coming into the near post. Cranson heads it away. This is Whelan. Looking once more for Walsh. Mulby. DeVray in there with a tackle, and that's surely a foul by Johnston on Putney. Ian Cranson leaves it for Frank Yallop. Looking for De Vrij, but Mulby there. Lee turns it back to Nicol, forward. Brennan intercepts. Lawrenson. There's one for Walsh to chase, but Frank Yallop covering very well indeed. Dazelle. That wind causing the ball perhaps to run away a bit more than the Ipswich forwards would like. Strong play by Ian Cranson. Lawrenson down there. Doing well. Brennan, typical little outside of the football, but again the wind taking it too far away from Mish De Vrij. Here's Beglin. Cranson strong in the air. Good cushioned header there from Mulby. Whelan. Mulby again. Here's Nicol on the touchline. Good covering work again by Steve McCall. Cool head on the young shoulders there of Jason Dazelle. Romeo Zondervan with a little bit of space, but very quickly that space is closed up. Well, 28 minutes gone, and certainly defensively, Ipswich Town looking very good this afternoon. Not allowing Walsh or Johnston an inch, and there's a poor pass from Lawrenson. Nicol having to chase back some distance. Hansen, Liverpool's captain, on one of those typical upfield runs. He's still going, but Cranson again. Mulby, the playmaker really in the Liverpool midfield. Lee to Johnston, a bit too powerfully struck in fact. Here's McCall. One for Jason Dazelle to chase again. Having to hold it up to wait for support. Now McCall. De Vrij. Once again thumped away by Liverpool. Sammy Lee trying to get the ball forward. Liverpool prepared to stroll around with the ball in defence. Mulby once more from Whelan. Leaves it for Walsh. Forward looking for Johnston, who's offside. Frank Yallop with the free kick. De Vrij. And Nicol across there. Not exactly a panic in the Liverpool defence, but they do look a little bit shaky, I must admit. All Lawrenson can do is put it into touch. Throw into Ipswich. Yallop. Well, I hope Grobbelaar called on that occasion. Mulby very cool to leave it. Walsh again beaten in the air by Butcher. Here's Mulby. And Beglin. Flicked on by Whelan, but Cranson delayed his pass a little bit there, and that allows Liverpool to come forward once more. But again, not able to angle their pass correctly. Ball Cooper clears. The wind really picking that one up. Butcher judging that one better than Walsh. Oh, that was a fierce back pass. And Grobbelaar just a little bit annoyed there with Gillespie. Here's Nickel. Players finding it very difficult to judge the strength of this wind. De Vrij flicks on, Dazelle. Grobbelaar there. Well, Jason Dazelle certainly doing very well playing up the middle with Mish De Vrij. Looking eager. Yallop puts it away. Here's Lee. On for Whelan. He winning though. And there's a good ball, but Wilson offside. Well, little Kevin Wilson hasn't seen much of the ball in this opening 35 minutes. Mulby. Gillespie. Mulby again. De Vrij doing well. Zondervan moving forward. Dazelle, Zondervan again. But a despairing leg from Alan Hansen sends it out for a corner. Slightly casual stuff that by Jan Mulby in midfield to give that ball away. Setting up the Ipswich break. Trevor Putney going across to take the corner. He'll take it with his right foot, trying to use this wind. Grobbelaar judging that one well. Lee appears on the left-hand side. Beglin. Here's Walsh, again a good turn. He hasn't got clear, and Yallop in there with the tackle. Walsh finds Mulby. Walsh doing well there to pick up what must be said was a pretty aimless pass, and he gets the free kick. Challenged by Steve McCall, the judge to be a foul, and the referee will want that taken again, not taken from the correct place. So Jan Mulby to take the free kick. Chips it forward. Whelan, that's in. Liverpool take the lead. Ronnie Whelan's 9th goal of the season. And virtually the first thing that Paul Cooper's had fired at him all afternoon. A fine header that by Ronnie Whelan, the 24-year-old Republic of Ireland international. A nicely flighted free kick into the wind by Mulby. And Whelan was there to get above Frank Yallop to put Liverpool in front after 36 minutes. Well, that certainly has made the town task a lot more difficult. Not many sides come from behind against Liverpool, but here's Yallop trying to get Ipswich moving forward again. Yallop. Header down by Wilson. He can't direct it. Liverpool bang it away. Brennan going in there strongly on Gillespie. Zondervan. Putney. Yallop. Couldn't quite pick out Trevor Putney there, Romeo Zondervan. Well, let's see if Ipswich can strike back quickly. Liverpool don't give much away at the back. Oh dear, a slip there by Ian Cranston. And Paul Cooper's not happy about that, but Cooper quick to grab that away from Craig Johnston. Here's Dazelle and Brennan. McCall with time. Looking for the head of Mish de Vrij. De Vrij to Putney. Knocked away by Liverpool. Well, as I said, Liverpool, once they get in front, are usually very difficult to break down, although a 10-man Chelsea did very well against them on Sunday in an FA Cup tie. In fact, Chelsea 2 goals down. They managed to get one back and might have had a second, so perhaps a glimmer of hope for Ipswich as Liverpool bang it away again. Vince touch. The Liverpool fans singing. They realised they could go top of the table this evening. 3 points here would certainly see them to the top of the table, with Manchester United playing tomorrow. Hansen. Here's Cranston. McCall. Brennan. All the way across to Frank Yallop. Zondervan. Liverpool back in number. This is Johnston, deep in his own defence. Nicol comes forward. Terry Butcher's got that under control. Has to turn it into touch, though. Butcher in there strongly. Free kick, says the referee. No, in fact, that challenge not penalised. Butcher again. Zondervan. To Yallop. De Vrij down for Brennan. He can't find Wilson. Sammy Lee. Again, a lack of cohesion about both sides at the moment, finding it very difficult to string passes together, and certainly penetrative passes. But here's Dazelle. Brennan to Yallop. Into the last 5 minutes of the first period as Cranston strikes the ball forward, flicked on by De Vrij, but he can't direct his header to a colleague. Here's one for Johnston to chase. This is Walsh, prepared to have a go, off target though. Zondervan, a little flick on. Almost finds Dezelle. Lawrenson. To Johnston. This is Whelan. Little chip into the box. Walsh offside though. Wilson suddenly appearing on the right touchline now. Here's Yallop. Nice little ball from De Vrij, but couldn't quite get it into Brennan's path. And Liverpool break up that Ipswich attack once more. Steve Nicol. Lee up to Johnston. And Nicol taking over. Lee once more. Lawrenson. There's a nice ball out. Wilson back there doing a defensive job. And Dezelle slides in. Free kick to Ipswich. Frank Yallop. Cranston for Zondervan and Brennan, and Yallop again. That pass cut out by Whelan. Johnston. Town doing lots of worrying and lots of harrying and lots of chasing. Here's Zondervan. Yallop's got to go backwards, then turns. Surely his shirt was pulled there. The referee, Callow, says no. Liverpool's ball. Cranston wins out in the air, but only finds Johnston. Walsh to Whelan. Lawrenson for Lee. Last minute of the first half. Sammy Lee again. Walsh and Lee. Here's Lawrenson. Nicol, worried by Putney, but still keeps possession. And this is a strong run by Gillespie coming forward. And Liverpool earn themselves a corner. Liverpool leading them by 1-0 as we're in the final stages of the first half. Steve Nicol up to take the corner. But not really time to take it. The referee's whistle goes for half-time. Half-time score, Ipswich Town 0, Liverpool 1. Quite an even first half, and really Liverpool with their one strike at Paul Cooper's goal. That proving decisive, the header from Ronnie Whelan in the 36th minute. That's the one that separates these two sides. So Ipswich with a hard job in this, the second half. As I said previously, not many sides come back against Liverpool, and certainly a draw would be a very creditable result indeed for Ipswich this afternoon. Grobbelaar clears. Dezelle, unable to direct his header again. Liverpool with the wind advantage in the second half. But really, I think Ipswich creating the better and certainly the more chances in that first period. So encouraging signs anyway. But of course, that Ronnie Whelan goal stands between the two sides at the moment as Molby comes forward. Here's Nicol. Terry Butcher. There's a mistake by Mulby. But Dizelle not quick enough to get onto that ball. A difficult ball for him to reach, it must be said. Cranston, only to Lee though. This is Nickel. Mulby, Lee. Here's McCall. DeVray doing well. Putney on the touchline. Sold Yallop a little bit short there, but Yallop able to strike it up towards DeVray, but beaten in the air by Gillespie. Here's Lee. Johnston offside. One or two latecomers coming back to their seats after the interval. And Michael Cole warming up. Perhaps Bobby Ferguson prepared to gamble here. Certainly Town thinking about an early substitution in the second half. Dizelle finds Yallop. DeVray down for Dizelle. Yallop again. That one a bit short. Beglin. Paul Cooper hammers it forward. Obviously not getting that distance against the wind. Here's Putney. Butcher to McCall. Dizelle with a little bit of space. And again back to goal. Brennan. That's a fine pass. Yallop. Again, Liverpool defending in depth. Off the head of Gillespie. DeVray not really realising where the ball had gone. And in fact, Ipswich awarded a free kick for that challenge by Gillespie on DeVray. And this free kick in a very interesting position. Just slightly to the left of the goal, but certainly within range for a shot here. Dizelle and Zondervan over the ball. For Frank Yallop, a good shot. And a fine header. Did that cross the line? Well, there's quite an instant there. Several of the Town players, and certainly the crowd in the North Stand, seemed to think that ball had crossed the line. The initial shot from Frank Yallop, very well struck indeed, and a good save by Grobbelaar, but the follow-up header looked as though it might possibly have crossed the line. Liverpool then being awarded a free kick on halfway. Chipped forward. Very long-range shot there indeed from Walsh, harmlessly wide. And Ipswich wanting to make their substitution at a very early stage in the second half. The substitution being made. And it's Frank Yallop, the man who's coming off. Well, there's quite a gamble from Bobby Ferguson, pulling off the fullback, Frank Yallop, pushing on Michael Cole. That'll mean probably that Trevor Putney will drop back into that fullback's position. Jason Dizelle coming into midfield to allow Michael Cole to go up front as Butcher strikes the ball forward. And there's one for Cole to chase already, showing his speed. Well, with 40 minutes of the match remaining, Town have made their substitution. 19-year-old Michael Cole coming into this game. In fact, the last time he played in the first team, he scored 2 goals. That, of course, in that Milk Cup tie against Swindon way back in November. Liverpool playing it at walking pace at the back. Gillespie to Nicol. And Grobbelaar. Grobbelaar glances at the crowd. I think the crowd's still talking about that earlier incident when the header came in. And Grobbelaar grabbed the ball very, very close indeed to his own line. And several of the crowd in that north stand certainly thinking the ball had crossed the line. Zondervan having to chase back, but he can't reach that one. And Liverpool overhitting with the wind behind them now. Free kick. Gillespie on De Vrij. Town wanting to take it. And then Terry Butcher says, no, let me get forward. And up he goes. McCall looks for Butcher, falls for Cole. Chip in from Putney. Gillespie away. Here's Brennan, though. He can't get it through either. Town still in possession. Zondervan. Back for Putney. Mark Brennan. Little chip. De Vrij with the header. Grobbelaar coming late, and Mish De Vrij has got the equaliser. Well, Mish De Vrij there, that's his 7th of the season, and certainly no more than Ipswich deserve. A brave header. It must be said that Grobbelaar was a bit strong, bit slow to come for that one. Probably the ball holding up in the wind, and that allowed Mish De Vrij to get in there with the header. And after 53 minutes, Town back in this game with a vengeance. Ipswich 1, Liverpool 1. And that's really set the crowd buzzing as Nicol goes forward, tripped by McCall. Well, nice to see Mish De Vrij getting on the score sheet after a little bit of a lean spell. Certainly signs of a return to form in the second half in the cup tie at West Ham last Saturday. And that will have done his confidence a power of good. Lovely flighted ball in there for the goal, and Jason Dazelle safety first there over his own crossbar. As I said, a lovely flighted ball in for De Vrij. So Liverpool with the corner. To the near post, Molby. Hooked away. Cole back there doing a good defensive job, and Wilson forward, one for Putney to chase. He's reached it before Hansen. Strikes it through for Cole. Cole here with half a chance, but robbed. Wilson crosses, headed away. That'll fall for a chance for Brennan to try his luck from very long range, and not so far wide. But certainly the pace of Michael Cole upsetting Liverpool there. Here's McCall. Looking for Cole, but Gillespie's there. And here's Whelan. Lawrenson. A little 1-2 with Walsh. And forward for Johnson. Johnston chasing to the byline, but Ian Cranston had gone with him. Quite happy to concede the corner. Good defensive work there by Cranston. Lee with the corner towards the near post, headed away. Wilson completes the clearance. De Vrij trying to turn his man. Well, a real cut-tie atmosphere now in this ground. 20,000 people absolutely buzzing as Ipswich get it back again. And Michael Cole set off too early on that occasion. That'll be a free kick to Liverpool, offside. Here's Molby. To Beglin. Hansen finds Whelan. Liverpool again not able to get forward. Molby. Lawrenson in a bit of space. And Molby taking a bit of a knock there from Mark Brennan. And the referee wanting a word with the Ipswich youngster. Deciding that a word's enough on that occasion. And Liverpool have the free kick. Here comes Beglin. Straight through to Paul Cooper then. Surely Gillespie leaning on Michael Cole there. Referee Callow, it must be said, has done a very good job in this game, deciding no on that occasion. Here's Lawrenson. Looking for Lee, but McCall there. Will fall for Lee, though. Nice one down for Nicol. Terry Butcher in there. Here's Cole. Dizelle. That's a lovely ball forward by Jason Dizelle. Michael Cole. Cole still with the shot. And a fine save by Grobbelaar. But what good confidence there from the youngster. Perhaps the ball didn't quite run into his path as he'd have liked. Was still prepared to take on the defender and get a shot in on target. And that produced an excellent save from Grobbelaar. The corner comes in. Liverpool can't get it away. Zondervan just over the top. Well, an hour of the game gone. And really, it's Ipswich looking the more likely side, certainly now. And Liverpool definitely wanting to slow things down. They've been hit quite hard by Ipswich in this opening 15 minutes of the second period. And certainly Town creating chances now. Steve Nicol. Butcher's there. Worried by Johnston. Well, what a turn-up for the book this would be if Town could snatch a second one. Here's Nicol. Molby. Beglin. Whelan. Here's Walsh. Looking for Johnston. And I think McCall just got a touch on that, which probably took the ball out of the direct path of Johnston. He had to adjust a bit, but certainly a real chance there for Liverpool. And had that not just flicked McCall's head, I'm sure Johnston would have been able to direct his header on target. Paul Cooper getting no distance at all with that goal kick. He's come back to him, though. Flicked on by De Vrij. Molby there, though. Little back heel there by Lee, finds Johnston. Walsh offside. Paul Walsh not happy with the decision. But Terry Butcher to take this free kick for Ipswich. DeVray flicks on. Gillespie wins that one though. And here's Nicol. Forward to Gillespie, who continued his run, but Town get it back and give it away again. Here's Johnston. Off McCall, throwing to Liverpool. Butcher doing well. This is Lee. Well, the tackles are going in thick and fast now. There's a real urgency about both sides. And that Ipswich equaliser has certainly livened this game up. And we're in for a tremendous last 28 minutes or so. McCall. Look how the wind's taken that one. But Cranston able to win it back. Finds Brennan. Brennan took a knock a bit late there. And the referee wants to speak to Mark Lawrenson about that one. Certainly Brennan had parted with the ball when he was hit. Free kick to Ipswich as both Butcher and Cranston move forward. McCall and Brennan over the ball. Here's McCall, back to Brennan. Little chip. Cranston unable to get up to that one. Putney picks it up though. His pass intercepted. And back come Liverpool. The Town not allowing them to get very far forward. And here's Putney. Liverpool throw. Walsh. How well he turns. But then he turns straight into Terry Butcher. Ball loose though, and there's a fine pass. Finding Sammy Lee. The diagonal cross. Still not safe. It is now though. Johnston unable to get any power in his header. A good jump by Walsh initially from that fine cross by Sammy Lee. DeVray wins. Here's Dazelle. Headed away by Mulby. Johnston to nobody in particular. This is Brennan, the Butcher. Nicol in there with a header. DeVray. Back to Terry Butcher. Michael Cole getting up well there. Whelan doing a good defensive job. Here's McCall. Wilson. Quiet afternoon so far for Kevin Wilson. Well, Bobby Ferguson promised he'd get his men amongst these Liverpool defenders, and certainly Town doing that. Here's Jason Dazelle. Brennan finds McCall. That one will hang in the air. Gillespie judging it well. McCall smartly in on Lee. Scottish international Steve Nicol forward, but Terry Butcher well positioned there. Walsh offside in any case. Headed away by Mulby, but only as far as Dazelle. He's beaten though. Oh, and there's a late challenge by Brennan, referee wisely saying play on. Butcher sticks out that long left leg. Lee's cross, headed away. Liverpool get it back though, and here's Johnston. Nickel on the overlap. A good defensive covering by Kevin Wilson. It's a corner to Liverpool. Nickel and Lee both there. Nickel to the near post. Holby can't get up. But Liverpool get another chance, a second corner. This one driven deeper. Looking for the head there of Lawrenson. Able to get his header on target, but Cooper equal to it. Forward again by Liverpool. Butcher and Cranston being outstanding in the Town defence. Here's Johnston. Deep cross, Putney, not quite sure with that header. Wilson missing his clearance, and Nichols plays it out to Johnston once more. Here's Lee. Nickel takes it on his chest, tries to freewheel, and goal kick to Ipswich though. Well, as I said, Cranston and Butcher being like rocks in that Town defence. But Mark Brennan outstanding in the middle of midfield. Here's Brennan. Brennan again a little bit late that time. And referee Callow, who's had to speak to him on 2 or 3 occasions, decides that's enough. Mark Brennan's name going into the book for the 5th time this season. A really competitive midfield player, only 20 years old, but what a player he's turning out to be. So Brennan booked, and Liverpool have this free kick. Headed firmly away. Brennan again forward. De Vrij plays it to Dazelle. And Dazelle unable to find Trevor Putney, who dashed forward on the right. And Johnston robbed again by Cranston. Cross coming in. Well, Terry Butcher unable to climb to that one. Perhaps the call from Steve McCall behind him, knowing that there was no danger. So just 20 minutes left. Scores level at 1 each. Header forward there by Lawrenson. A little bit tussled down by the corner flag, the long and the short of it there. Walsh and Butcher. It finally runs out for a corner to Liverpool. Knocked to the near post again. But again, Terry Butcher there wheeling with the shot. The fall for Johnston. But Town get it away once more. Only as far as Beglin though. Forward to Johnston. Johnston with space for the cross. Still not clear. And Paul Cooper tipping it over his own crossbar, but the whistle gone for an infringement. So a little spell of Liverpool pressure there. They're certainly not finished yet. Question is, will Ipswich be happy to settle for a draw here? Certainly that would be a fine result. But throughout the 75 minutes that we've played so far, it's certainly been Ipswich that have created more of the chances. As the ball comes forward from again, Dazelle doing well to judge that one. Determined play from Cole and Brennan looking for Wilson. That one again holding up in this wind. But Kevin Wilson gets the ball back. Struck very high indeed by Terry Butcher. McCall doing well. Here's Wilson. There's a good cross, but just over the head of Dazelle. Putney to Cole. Dazelle just too far in front of young Michael Cole there. Gillespie plays it forward. Well, Town not prepared to give an inch here. A real battling performance. Here's Brennan. He, of all people, typifying this spirit in the Ipswich side as Butcher strikes it forward. Here's Cole. Hansen rather misjudging that one. Zondervan infield to Brennan. Aimed at McCall. But McCall not quite able to get there. Another man who's done a tremendous job this afternoon, Steve McCall. But really, it's difficult to single out Town players on this performance. There's a mistake. But Liverpool getting the ball back. Here's Walsh. 5'7" of dynamite, little Paul Walsh, and he's tripped there by Romeo Zondervan. Perhaps Walsh missing his striking partner Ian Rush. Between them, such a dangerous combination. Now Nickel. Lee. Looking for Johnston. Brennan back there. Here's Mulby, but he's robbed. And forward comes Mish DeVray. Outnumbered eventually as Liverpool get men back. And Mulby ploughing through that mud. Hansen. Gillespie to Nickel. Back to Gillespie. Hansen again, and then all the way back to Bruce Grobbelaar. Proof that Town's shape at the back must have been right on that occasion, because there was no way forward for Liverpool. McCall strikes it forward. Cole sprinting onto this. Still Michael Cole. Here's Brennan. But Hansen covering well for Liverpool. Well, that pace that Michael Cole has, he's a fine athlete. And certainly that's worrying the Liverpool defenders. McCall to Dazelle. The cross for the head of DeVray. Unable quite to judge that one. But Butcher down for Zondervan and back to Trevor Putney. Putney to float one in. Flicked on by Cole. DeVray closed in, but Cole unable to direct his header towards him. And Grobbelaar opts for the long clearance on this occasion. Walsh can't do much with it. Terry Butcher. Lee in the way. And here's Walsh again. Butcher happy to give it back to Paul Cooper. Here's Romeo Zondervan. but Beglin concedes the throw-in. Zondervan will chase that, but won't get there. Here comes Mulby. Again, no Liverpool player allowed to settle on the ball, and that's good play by Jason Dezelle. Here's Cole. Cole going forward at speed, tries the shot, brings Grobbelaar to his knees. Here's a chase. Butcher and Walsh. Butcher's there first. And that's an Ipswich throw. And Liverpool wanted to make their substitution, and the man coming onto the field, former Town star John Walk. Craig Johnston, the man coming off. Well, John Walk greeted with the customary boos from the Ipswich fans. And Cole finds Putney. Putney forward for Cole once more. He'll chase, he'll run, but Hansen's there first. Liverpool deciding to throw Jan Mulby forward now, with Walk coming into the midfield. He's beaten, but Brennan's across there. The ball with Alan Hansen. Dezelle in there again. What a good game he's had. Here's Lee. Back for Nicol. McCall. Cole. Here's Dezelle. He finds Wilson. Wilson to the byline. The chip to the far post. No Town player there though, but Zondervan picks it up. He finds Mark Brennan. Brennan chips across. Two Liverpool players getting in each other's way. Is Wilson! Oh, yes! Well, Kevin Wilson's had such a quiet afternoon, but he's the man who's put Ipswich Town in the lead with just 11 minutes of this match left. And what a welcome sight for Town fans that was. He's absolutely lethal in front of goal. The cross floated in, and two Liverpool players, it must be said, rather getting in each other's way. The ball falling to Wilson. The angle wasn't good, but how well he smacked that into the net. Ipswich 2, Liverpool 1. Now what have Liverpool got left? Here's Zondervan, but a free kick already given. And that free kick is Liverpool's way. Now there's urgency about the Reds. As Beglin hits the free kick forward, headed away by Brennan. Beglin. Hansen coming forward. Up to the feet of Walk, and the shot coming in from Mulby, deflection. Well, we can certainly expect Liverpool to get forward as much as possible in this last 10 minutes. They won't take this lying down as the corner's quickly taken. Lee. But offside. Well, the ball's in the net, but certainly it won't count. A real cup-tie atmosphere in this ground now. Ipswich Town, so much the underdogs on paper. A chance that Liverpool could have gone top of the First Division this afternoon with 3 points here, and it looks as though they could end up with none. As Cooper plays the ball forward. Wilson, extra spring in his step now, of course. His 13th goal of the season. And that's the one that could well decide this match. Here's Begley. To Nickel. The rain, which hasn't stopped throughout the entire game, still hammering down that field. And Town desperately trying to break up this Liverpool attack. Walsh chips one over the top. Well, certainly the conditions haven't been the best in the world, but what entertainment this has been for this biggest crowd of the season at Portman Road. And they've certainly got something to sing about at the moment. Here's Mulby. Lawrenson. Back for Hansen. And look at that for determination. From Trevor Putney. And here's Zondervan going clear down the right, but not quite angled correctly for him. Throw in to Liverpool. Ball played forward again, but again an Ipswich player getting there first. And once again it's Steve McCall this time. He plays it forward. And although Michael Cole was in an offside position, referee waves play on and Bruce Grobbelaar up almost to the halfway line. Typical of him, McCall pumps it forward. Gillespie there first. And here comes Gary Gillespie. That one overplayed safely through to Paul Cooper. Well, just 5 or 6 minutes now for Town to hang on. Touchdown, but again Ipswich there. This time it's Wilson. He'll fight and battle. That strong challenge there from Steve McCall on Paul Walsh. And temper's just a little bit frayed. And the referee wants to have a word now with Paul Walsh and Kevin Wilson. In fact, Steve McCall. The referee, Vic Callow, handled this match very, very well indeed. Lee with the free kick, struck into the middle. Again, Ipswich get it away, but it's back with Lee. Chip forward for Walsh, Butcher in there strongly. Here's Mulby, a dummy from Walsh, but nobody read it. And Paul Cooper very happy just to pick that one up. Well, I don't think Liverpool are going to let Ipswich play keep ball. Probably the best place for it is as far forward as possible, and that's what Paul Cooper decides. Flicked on by De Vrij. The Beglin back there to send it back to Grobbelaar. Grobbelaar with a long clearance. McCall again there. And Cole chases across. Gillespie there first, though. But he gives it away. Here's Wilson. Off the feet of Lee for the throw-in. Town will be happy about that. Mr. Callow wanting Ipswich to hurry up. Glancing at the watch. Terry Butcher says, what, here? Here's De Vrij. Pass short for Butcher. Lee gets a foot in there, but it's only fallen for Dazelle. Some space on the right-hand side. A good chip forward. Dazelle. And Mish De Vrij thinking that ball had come off the hand of Alan Hansen. Referee says no, but Ipswich win it back. Whacked high, hard and forward. Nickel back to Grobbelaar. Grobbelaar anxious to get on with it. Zondervan can't quite get there. Putney perhaps trying to be clever where he shouldn't. Let's make sure now. That must be the call. And Liverpool win themselves free kick, which is quickly taken. Well, no time for fancy stuff now, surely. Here comes Lee. Forward for the head of Walk, and the shot comes in. Butcher there, though. Well, amongst all these youngsters in the town side, I'm sure they're very grateful for the old, experienced heads. Not perhaps in terms of years, but certainly in terms of experience. Paul Cooper, over 500 games for the club. Terry Butcher, England international, of course, and Steve McCall. Those are the men that provide the experience in this very young side. And all the promise that Town have been showing all season really coming to fruition this afternoon. And this could well be the starting point of something very, very good at Ipswich Town. Certainly, before the game, Town must have been somewhat concerned by the fact that Liverpool had put 8 goals past them already this season without reply. But this afternoon, with 2 minutes to go, they've turned the tables. They lead by 2 goals to 1. As Nicol comes forward, finds Sammy Lee. And again, the challenge coming in. Gillespie, there's only one way he can go, and that's not really the way that Liverpool want to go. Grobbelaar forward, Dazelle with the head there. Beglin pumps it up, hopefully. McCall. Walk, challenging, and forward come Liverpool once more. But again, Steve McCall's there. And there's all the experience in the world there. Steve McCall, very cool under pressure. Gillespie wanting to get on with it. McCall there again. Here's Hansen. Cole will chase and chase. Well, what an atmosphere. What a noise coming from all around this Portman Road ground now. They haven't heard anything like this down here for some considerable time, as Nicol moves forward for Liverpool again. He gives it away. But Liverpool with another chance through Lee. But in fact, the referee's whistle already gone offside. And that will take up a few more seconds. There they are then, the 3 experienced men. Well, I'm sure when that final whistle finally comes, in about 60 seconds from now, plus perhaps a little bit of injury time, there is going to be one almighty noise, even louder than it is already from this crowd. They appreciate what's happened here at Portman Road this afternoon. And it could be a result that lifts Ipswich Town out of the bottom 3 for the first time since way back in September. And surely this side is too good to be relegated. As Cooper pushes the ball downfield, Wilson high into the sky. Beglin not very convincing, picked up by Zondervan. The final whistle goes. And all around the ground there are people on their feet to say, well done, Ipswich Town. The blue-shirted heroes, the game played in a fine spirit throughout, and surely that's going to stand Ipswich in very good stead with an important cup tie coming up, a cup replay in just 4 days' time. There's Terry Butcher. He must be absolutely delighted with this performance. And Bruce Grobbelaar still able to have a laugh and a joke with Kevin Wilson. I'm sure he's saying, where did you produce that one from? Because that Kevin Wilson winner really was something special. Cracked it on the volley. DeVrayne Wilson then the scorers for Ipswich. And Ronnie Whelan the scorer in the first half for Liverpool. And what a comeback that by Ipswich Town. Not many sides, as I said before, come back against Liverpool